Hello, everyone. I'm Anumani, your modern day shaman and the author of Unmasking Your Soul, a transformational journey of truth, light, and healing. And today, my special guest is Sara Buchanan. Hi, Sara.
Hi, how are you, sis? How are you?
I'm good. So good to have you. And this time, we're going to get this to work.
Yes, wonderful to be here.
Thank you. So, I'm going to read a little bit of your bio and then we're going to get started on the questions. So Sara is the founder and CEO of Career Match IQ. CMiQ is the second company Sara has founded and is an evolution through technology of your talent bridge. Now one company, Career Match IQ, specializes in talent acquisition, employer branding, cultural analysis, and talent pipeline development for global corporations, nonprofit organizations, and schools. This game-changing recruiting technology identifies and delivers for an employer's recruiters the most qualified and engaged talent matches for an employer's company, jobs, in their corporate culture. Think of it as the eHarmony for recruiting. I love that.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sara. And I always like to start all of the guests with the same question. So, can you tell us about your definition of soul or your experience of soul?
Sure. I believe that the soul is our infinite being that travels with us through each lifetime that we are in. But it's truly the essence that we are breathed into existence from by the divine source, and that is our true infinite beingness. It is the part of us that becomes or is encapsulated within our body, but it is not our body. So I believe that the soul is an infinite creation and being that we truly are.
Beautiful. And this show is all about the soul. And I like to think of the soul as the light of you. And so today we're going to be talking about unmasking the soul
Mm-hmm.
and your journey of getting to where you are today and telling us what it took to get to where you are today and to start this company and all the good stuff that's going on in your life right now.
Thank you. So I'm just so honored to be here with you today. So please just know that I'm grateful to have the opportunity to talk with you and to be a part of your series. It's an honor and pleasure. So thank you.
It's great to have you. So tell us about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Sure. So my journey really started when I was 6, and I was shown a vision that whatever I was going to do at the height of my career would have a global impact on people in a positive way. I had no idea what that meant, but that was something that really stuck with me. And so I thought initially it would come together through music. And that's where that platform would come from. But it actually came from starting in corporate America. And ultimately, let's see, a number of years later, after starting the first company and creating and implementing these campus recruiting campaigns, I saw that there was this space in the market between Facebook and LinkedIn that could be used for a social recruiting and talent development platform. And so about 5 years in to the first company, I went into a period of prayer and meditation, and the answer that came from that was it's time to build the recruitment social network. And so that is actually what put me on the path, and I knew that was the right answer because the message that I was shown was that same vision that I had when I was 6. And so I knew that was how our divine source and creator meant for this to manifest through my life. And so today, what we have is we've developed and implemented a technology that I truly believe will help to prepare, empower, and truly propel people into career and life success.
How cool is that, that at 6 years old, you got your purpose vision? And, you know, many of us spend, you know, a lifetime trying to figure out what that is. So did you actually see images when you got that vision as a child? You saw?
I did. I did. I was shown that in the vision that what I was going to do at the height of my career would impact humanity in a positive way. And that was a very ambiguous message. But now I understand that message truly was, that's what your purpose is here to do. And it now I understand that it's really through helping people to understand, you know, what their natural strengths and abilities are, because those always align with our purpose work. And also to be able to introduce and expose them to the principles of how to be successful in life. You know, we go to school to learn different academic abilities and essentially to use that in a way that will help to support a career. But there are universal principles that also guide and govern this universe that are not taught. And so if we can incorporate those into that academic process and help individuals to identify what their strengths are and what career paths and job opportunities are available to them in a fit for both ultimately the job seeker and the employer, I really believe that will truly help to propel, you know, everyone that's touched by this technology and by this interactive curriculum truly into their purpose work. And that's really the goal.
That's amazing. Yes, to be able to get some help doing that, because a lot of people struggle in trying to figure out, you know, what really is their purpose work and what type of company would really support them, etc. So this is really wonderful. So tell us about, were there any particular masks that were prevalent for you or that were difficult in you letting go as you were stepping into really surrendering to this vision and doing?
Oh, absolutely. So I'd say the mask of fear or the mask of ego. And so this is one. So there is an exercise that they talk about actually in a book that's recently been published. So I became a published author also on my birthday. So just a few weeks ago. The book is called Beyond Limitless. And
congratulations on that.
Thank you. And this can be found on Amazon and also on Kindle. So, but what I talk about in that is really learning to surrender to the will of the divine. And that means becoming conscious of what voice is talking to you. And so there's an exercise that Eckhart Tolle did on a Super Soul Sunday that truly changed my life and helped me to understand how to tap into the greatest source of intelligence that we have, which is our intuition. And I believe that's really our connection to the divine. And then to also understand, you know, what is the voice of my ego? And so the exercise is really simple. You basically just, you know, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, you know, for 15 to 20 seconds, and then to notice what happens. And so what happens is that you'll notice that there are thoughts that are going through your head. And those thoughts that are going through your head are really your conscious mind or your ego self. And that truly represents the lowest form of intelligence that we have access to. There will also be a really quiet, peaceful place that's observing the thoughts that's going through your head. And that space of the observer is our connection to the divine. And so being able to consciously recognize which voice is talking to you, and then learn through, and I think guided meditation or meditation is an amazing tool to use to actually then consciously begin turning down the volume on your ego self. That was one of the greatest masks that through this process that I've learned to release. And I'm still, working at that. It's a work in progress, but I can truly say that in doing so, I've learned to only be guided by that intuitive intuitive space of our connection to the divine within us. And it's never led me astray, ever. Sometimes you don't understand it. But within releasing or turning down the volume on my conscious mind, it has really helped me to be able to step through fear. And one of the acronyms that I've heard about fear is that it's false evidence appearing real. And I really believe that that's true. The other acronym that helps me when I am triggered is ego, and ego stands for edging God out. So in that moment, I can turn back to the connection of the divine and being present.
And this is a important topic. We're talking about corporate and intuition in the same sentence. And there's a whole movement around conscious capitalism and bringing more of that wisdom into how you do your work, and even in how you manage a team, right? And the leadership of an organization. But can you talk a little bit about, how you envision that for your organization?
Sure. So first and foremost, we are a conscious capitalistic organization, and one of our chief guiding principles across the leadership team is we make decisions based upon intuition. We always step through that, and when I'm having a moment, my partner Anthony is amazing at helping me to step back into that space of no. We are only going to move from the space of intuition. And it's amazing how things are coming together and working from that space. And I think it's truly empowering, and that it is truly the future of commerce in this country and in this world.
So let's give an example of that, because everyone receives in a different way, and there are different ways that we receive intuition. I talk about intuition really is the way the soul is communicating to you through the part of you that is bigger than this human body. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it could be just a feeling. It could be, you can actually hear a message or something that you just know. You just know you need to do it. You don't know how or why, but you just know. So can you give an example for those who are listening, like how this might apply in a corporate setting?
Sure. So as a matter of fact, we talked, so Anthony and I talked about this earlier today. And so the messages come to me personally through a number of different mediums. I get flashes of insight. I get messages through a knowingness. Sometimes it's a gut feel. I also receive premonitions. I get messages through dreams, and I'm also shown visions. So I receive those messages in a multitude of different forms. But we are, for example, very conscious about who are the partners that we are going after doing business with, and whether or not they have similar conscious capitalistic, whether or not they hold that as a part of the fabric of their organization, or of the particular partner that we're talking about bringing into the organization. Yeah, so we're being very, very intentional about that.
And just so for the audience to know, the conscious capitalism has several different tenets. One is to lead, through intuition. But also one of the main premises is that there's a higher purpose of why you created the organization in the first place. And there really is this desire to make a better world, to make an impact on the world that makes it a better place. So I absolutely support that and encourage that. And I'm so happy that you are using that philosophy in your organization. So not everyone, has a vision when they're 6 years old.
Right. I understand.
So what would you recommend for people who want to start building their intuition? Like, what's one small thing that maybe they can do to start tapping into that?
So there was a book that was really foundational for me. It's called The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. I think that one, the insights that it teaches, and it's based upon, I think, 9 insights. And the first really helps you to learn how to tune into energy, and it teaches you how to understand really the language, I think, of the universe in creating conscious connections, because nothing happens by accident. So that was one of the foundational books. Those principles have stuck with me, that really helped me to begin being much more aware of the unseen communication and how the universe communicates with us and creates divine connections and orchestrations of different meetings and different events in our lives. So I think that's one of the foundational books. Your book, Unmasking Your Soul, is another, I think, incredible masterpiece that really talks about how we unmask and how we unmask our souls, and how we really heal the subconscious, so that we can truly step into the fullness of who we are and who we are meant to be. So I think that's another book. There's an amazing DVD called The Power of the Heart. That is an incredible DVD. Has a number of wonderful thought leaders, Maya Angelou, Michael Beckwith, Eckhart Tolle, Gary Zukov, Marianne Williamson. There are a number of, I think Deepak Chopra's also in it. I think, again, Beyond Limitless, the book that was just published and by the editor, Carol Reinlein. And that is, it's a 13-book chapter. There are 13 different authors. I'm one of them, but it really talks about how each of us can learn to step into this process and awakening in our lives. Yeah.
Great. And I remember The Celestine Prophecy. That was one of my favorite books. They also made a movie, I think, as well. So lots of good resources. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to jump back to you made a comment about the ego.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes it's hard for people to distinguish between like the ego voice and what's coming in as intuition or wisdom. So how does that manifest for you? Like, when it's, how do you know when it's the ego versus it's a higher part of you that's trying to guide you?
So one of the markers is that's a great kind of guidepost. And also the DVD and the book, The Secret, talk about this. There's like an energy scale. And so there's a resonance that our intuition has. And you'll notice that it's peaceful. It literally feels very light. And it's always going to be for your highest and greatest good. It's never going to be something that could cause harm to you. And whereas the ego, if you think about it, is like when we get the desire to, let's just say, have an extra drink, or go get donuts at, late at night, or pizza or whatever. I think for women, for example, like emotional eating, right? So when that voice is like, I want a donut, or I want that piece of cake, or I want this, So that is a fantastic marker for the ego, because the ego always wants more. It never is satisfied. And if you think about it, it really is like a gerbil wheel going around in your head. It's never satisfied. It's always going. And the energetic feel of it is if you learn to tap into this and really feel this in your body, it's about self-preservation. It is not about your highest and greatest good. So the Celestine prophecy taught me to learn how to tap into those different energies and what they feel like. The Secret, talks about that also in its DVD and its book, and it actually shows like this scale from love and the feeling of love, down to fear and sadness. And so it really, the higher level energies that they talk about, in that scale, that's our connection to the divine. And that has a specific feeling that you can ask your body to tell you what that is or to show you. And when you get that urge to do something that really isn't in your highest and greatest good, but there's something that's pushing you to do that, that is your ego.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. And that's a wonderful way to look at it. And the ego coming from that place of fear, and the higher part of you coming from that place of love, and it loves you unconditionally. And I think it's an important part for all of us to always be practicing recognizing when it's the ego versus the higher part of us, because when we make decisions from the ego, usually those decisions aren't the best ones for us.
Right.
Sometimes they can actually lead to frustration. So thank you for talking about that, because this applies to anyone, living their daily life, either in corporate or whatever it is that they're doing, to be able to differentiate between the ego and that higher part. Is there anything else that you want to mention about kind of your vision of where you want to take things with your organization, or things that you would like people to think about in terms of their lives and their purpose work?
Sure. So the vision for the organization truly is to be a platform that touches billions of people. And we want that technology to range from middle and high school students, and helping them at that impressionable early age to begin learning the principles of life and success, and the things that they are great at in career paths that align to their strengths, up through the corporate realm, where it can be used by corporations to help identify and recruit the best talent for their company, their culture, and their jobs, and also for talent, helping individuals to learn professional development, skills. And we're bringing this interactive curriculum together by world-renowned thought leaders. So that is truly the vision. I mean, my goal is to have this to be something that is accessible for middle and high school students, college students, and into the corporate realm. 50% of our world's population is under 30. And we are truly at we're at a crossroads in terms of really in terms of humanity. And I think we've got a choice to become a more conscious world. I think a great example of that, was the bishop that spoke at the royal wedding, and he talked about love. Love is the next fire, and truly consciousness is love. And so we really want to teach the principles of consciousness to as many people truly that represent the future of our world, which is that population that's 50% that are 30 and under. And so that's the big vision for this, and that is how we will end up having a global impact. And I believe that all of the connections are in place, and we are really in the process of evolving forward and taking that next step. And so really excited about that. I would say the one last piece that is really, really the most critical, I think, in terms of self-evolution is understanding triggers. So that's really one of the other masks that has been one of the most significant for me in an unfolding of my own soul's evolution. But that's to know that when you feel sad, when you are angry, when you feel in fear, any of the emotions that are lower level emotions but are really heavy, that's really the universe's invitation to you to help you evolve into the next level of your own soul's greatness. And so doing work with amazing healers like yourself is a truly it's an integral part of being able to unmask your soul and truly step into the truth of who you are. And so I think that message is not out there enough in the world. And if more people understood that we could look at, the soul that helped to bring us that message, at its core, loved us enough to show up and to help us get that. And they were willing to make us uncomfortable enough to be able to step through that invitation and get that lesson.
Yeah, and that's a really important part because we're mirrors to each other, and usually it's the people closest to you that trigger you the most.
That is true. Your family, your spouse, your kids,
absolutely,
your closest friends. Yes, absolutely.
Like they all made a soul agreement to be in your life at this time, and really to help each other, right? Because you're helping them as well.
Yes.
That when those emotions come up, it is a place of where the wounds are, where the pain is, but it's also the place where the light wants to go and the love wants to go. And so it's an opportunity to bring more love and light to those places. Very important. Thank you for bringing that up. We all, even I think on a daily basis, there are moments when we get triggered, or we might be at work and somebody says something, and it's always an opportunity for that evolution, like you say, but also to practice not reacting.
Yes.
Right? I was talking with a friend today about meditation, and that's one of my practices. I practice the transcendental meditation twice a day. And we were both talking about that for us, doing that helps us stay more centered when the outside world around you, maybe something's happening that's not so pleasant, that when you have your spiritual practice, whatever that may be, it helps you stay more grounded in a place of more centeredness, so that your reaction isn't to blow it out of the water or to get angry. And sometimes you can't avoid that, but practicing something helps you stay in that place of peace for longer times. So something that I invite the audience to think about, what are the things that you can practice to keep you in a place of peace and centeredness, so that when you do get triggered, it's not as bad and you don't react to it as much, and you're able to really just take an opportunity to look at it and say, well, why did I just get angry? Yeah. Or why did I, get sad? Or why did I just feel judged, right? Because it's always an opportunity to bring more love into that place.
Yes, it is. And to heal it.
Yes.
And to heal it.
So any other words before we close out to our audience?
I would just say that just know that you truly are a divine, you're a divine being. And the purest power within us is really stepping into that truth. You'll know it because whatever that thing or things are absolutely will make your heart sing. And there will be a resonance within you that you'll feel that it just won't feel like work. And it is something that will help serve humanity in some way.
Yes, and I want to reiterate that we're all here to really serve and figuring out our higher purpose and how we can make this a better world and place always starts with love and surrendering to the journey. I want to thank you, Sara, for being on the show today, and thank everyone watching, and just reminding you that you are love and you are loved, and we hold you in that space, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. And namaste.
Namaste.